watching the News Hour Special Edition.
Good evening. Debate number 2 on this News Hour special edition. The lobby which accuses India of abject surrender to China has been conspicuously silent after our neighbour has been brought to its knees. Isolated in the world and rattled by India's unprecedented hard stance, China has now held out an olive branch. Not only have they retreated 2 kilometers from point 14, the point of clash in Galwan, but have also begun the process of disengagement in Pangong Lake, Dogra and Hot Springs too. The strongest indication of stand down by China has been the statement of their ambassador appealing to India to be a partner and not a rival. Here's what the lobby has turned a blind eye to.
An unprecedented, belligerent India has taken a hard stand to defend its sovereignty. It has shown the dragon that Mazboot India will not cower. And the biggest and strongest indication of the stand down by China has been the statement of their ambassador appealing to India to be a partner, not a rival. They have also called out the lobby for trying to exaggerate conflicts and provoke conflict between the two nations. Even opposition parties have backed the government on national security.
It's a positive statement coming from Chinese side, and already from Indian side, our special representative, Mr. Doval, keeps talking to Chinese side, and both sides have agreed. That is why that disengagement took place, de-escalation of tension took place. Now, how to move forward? So, we are saying both sides should continue to have intensive negotiations at the highest possible level so that both sides can arrive at some amicable solution. This is what we have been saying.
राष्ट्रीय विदेश नीति के सवाल पर देश के अंदर में कोई मतभेद और मनभेद नहीं रहता है, तो स्वाभाविक रूप से केंद्र सरकार और केंद्र सरकार का विदेश मंत्रालय ऐसे सवालों पर जो संवेदनशील सवाल है, जो देश की राष्ट्रीय अस्मिता से जुड़ा हुआ है, देश के सैन्य पुरुषार्थ से जुड़ा हुआ है, तो ऐसे मामले को खुद गंभीरता से देखती है। कौन क्या कहता है, इसके लिए औपचारिक रूप से, अधिकृत रूप से केवल और केवल विदेश मंत्रालय इस पर सक्षम प्रतिक्रिया देगा।
तनाव कम करना है तो जो वास्तविक नियंत्रण रेखा है उसको पत्ता रेखा में बदला जाए। ये बार बार जो दोनों तरफ के फौजों के साथ टकराव होता है, इस टकराव से भी आदमी बचेगा और दोनों मुल्क में जो माने खर्चा भी बचेगा, जो खर्च हो रहा है बेमतलब का। तो असली बात यह है कि कोशिश करनी चाहिए दोनों सरकारों को कि एलएसी को पत्ता माने बॉर्डर रेखा में परिवर्तित किया जाए।
After all, China has been pushed back by 2 kilometers from PP14, the point of clash in Galwan. The process of disengagement has also begun at other points of conflict such as Pangong Lake, Dogra and Hot Springs. Yet the Congress continues its political attacks.
Let the facts speak for themselves. Let's have a free and fair commission of inquiry that should tell the country where we stand. Have we faltered somewhere? Have we failed somewhere? Have we been cheated somewhere? Have we been betrayed somewhere? Whatever the truth is will come out. The fact remains that this country needs to be told why 20 young men, brave young men, lost their lives.
Times Now also reveals how both sides have agreed on the phased disengagement in 4 pockets to relocate the troops and restore land. With positive signs on ground, will the lobby still continue to peddle the surrender narrative? Bureau Report, Times Now.
You're watching the News Hour Special Edition, Debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
We have two strategic affairs experts joining me on the panel tonight, Abhijit Iyer Mitra and Sushant Sareen. We also have Professor Dinesh Vashni, leader of the CPI, and political analyst Nishant Verma. Good evening to all of you, gentlemen. And Sushant Sareen, I want to begin with you. What is your understanding? What has brought about this change in tone by China? Is it the hard stance that India took that finally has Beijing saying that we should work like partners and not rivals?
Look, in principle, I think whatever the Chinese ambassador said is the correct statement to make. But the fact that, he has been soft in his tone, I think is significant because normally the Chinese can be extremely abrasive and even obnoxious when they want to be. And given the true wolf warrior diplomacy of the Chinese, I think...
Sushant, I think I'm afraid I'm losing that. I'm afraid I'm losing that link with you. Okay, can you try speaking again? Let me just see if it's any better, and you could finish your point.
Okay, so I'll just try again. I'm saying that normally the Chinese can be extremely obnoxious and abrasive when they want to include their diplomats, but wolf warrior diplomacy they are practicing. So if the Chinese ambassador is now speaking in somewhat softer tones, I think that's to be welcomed, number one. But I don't take anything the Chinese say seriously or on face value, because everything he has said is rather disingenuous because the Chinese created this problem in the first place, number one. Number two, for him to say that, we should be talking to each other, cooperating with each other, that is precisely what this government has been trying to do for the last 6 years. Starting from 2014, Mr. Modi has made a number of attempts to try and reach out to the Chinese. In fact, they've tried to take border talks to the next level. And yet, the Chinese have given us the short shrift on that one. So for him to now say that, we should talk about cooperation, even when they, continue to try the Islamist slide.
So what is the underlying political message in the entire assessment of the Modi government's policy really vis-a-vis China right from the beginning? We were soft with them and cordial with them when the need was to cooperate globally, also in regional terms, and now when it required us to maintain a hard stance to make sure that we convey in no uncertain terms that you are not welcome on our territory, China got the message as well. So Nishant Verma, what exactly should be the political takeaway for the opposition parties who were accusing the government of that surrender charge, that we were surrendering in front of an aggressive China? That was nowhere the case.
Thank you. First of all, I don't understand what lobby was being discussed in the narrative part of it. But leaving that aside, let's come to the political aspect and not the military aspect, because none of us know what exactly is there, and let the government speak for itself. The ambassador of China has said two basic things. One is the right and wrong of what recently happened at the Galwan Valley is very clear. Nobody knows what is so clear about it, because China has been saying that India initiated, and we have always refused it. So when he says this sentence, it is an ambiguous sentence. Number two, this Chinese ambassador has the audacity of quoting our 20 brave martyred soldiers, and he says unclarified numbers of casualties on Chinese side. This brings back to for us to India and China relations.
So you feel that
China.
no gains have been made?
A person,
would you summarize your opening comments by saying that no gains have been made? Should I bring in the strategic affairs experts to give you a reply on that? Abhijit, what would you tell people like Mr. Verma, who even now believe that no gains have been made by the stand that India maintained over the last 1 month particularly, and they see their stand even now vindicated that China, apart from saying that we should not be working as rivals but as partners, essentially is not on the same page as we are?
One gain, there's been no territorial gain, but there has been significant achievement, which is that you have created tensions. All right, because China did not think that we were willing to die and kill for water in this particular case in Galwan. It happened, and they are much chastised for it. That said, I won't take what the Chinese ambassador said seriously, because everybody knows that the Chinese Foreign Service is treated as something of a joke. The real control of foreign policy in China rests with the People's Liberation Army, and the People's Liberation Army themselves treat their own diplomats like a joke. So, it's no point taking that man particularly seriously, number two. Number three, we need to be very, very careful now because this is the point of greatest peril. Remember, China does not take defeat like this lying down. And by defeat, I simply mean losing a larger number of people than we did, which is borne out by satellite evidence. They will be seeding for round two. And this is where I think, like Doklam, where we won a huge tactical victory, but then it became a strategic loss for us because we never followed through. This is the time where we really need to stop talking about non-alignment and be very, very clear that China is not a friendly state. It was never a friendly state. And if you continue with this
I want to talk in details about keeping up our guard even now. There is definitely not a chance for us to, really sit back and relax at this point in time. It's a very critical time. I will discuss that further with you. I want to bring in Professor Dinesh Varshney of the CPI here. Professor Varshney, Mr. D. Raja said that this is a positive statement from the Chinese side. What do members of the opposition largely believe? Has India made any, gains really in terms of its foreign policy with China in going back to where we were earlier and making China speak a tone that it is not known for?
Look, Priti, this is definitely a positive statement made by the Chinese ambassador in India today, and we should welcome it. At the same time, both the countries should realize that we are a neighbor and we have a very large borders at the common borders, land borders. We should de-escalate the situation at the LAC, at Ladakh and other borders also, and let the situation go to pre-April position of 2020. It is necessary that we should work together. We should learn. China should also learn that the neighbors should live in peace. Not every time engagement. Whether it is a loss and a martyrdom of about 20 soldiers or their loss, this is not a good in the present day terms. Already the world is facing COVID-19. India is facing a COVID-19. China is facing a COVID-19. Both of them have suffered their economic losses because of COVID. And India has suffered a very big losses. This is not a time. Otherwise also, this is not an era for armed confrontation.
Sure. That's a very balanced comment. Professor Varshney, that's a very balanced comment. But I just want to focus once again, Sushant Sareen, really on the gains that India might have made, or at least the impression that India might have created on China, so that to extract this sort of response from their ambassador. Now, in terms of purely maintaining a stand of the last couple of months, to your strategic mind, what was the difference really that really made an impression on China that you can't take us for granted, and the way China was going about its expansionist designs is certainly not going to work in the situation that they found themselves in at the LAC in Ladakh?
Look, I think two things came into play. The first was that the Indians refused to back down in the face of what the Chinese were trying to throw at us. And I don't think the Chinese expected that kind of a robust response, the kind of mobilization which was done. And as Abhijit very correctly mentions, the fact that when they tried to do some strong arm, the Indians hit right back. They were not pulling their punches with the Chinese. I think that's a bit of a salutary message, one. And the fact that the Indians were ready, especially after the Prime Minister's visit, that the Indians were ready to up the ante if that is what it took. That was one. The second thing, and I'll probably short circuit what Abhijit was going to say. At the strategic community level, a lot of us have been advocating that this nonsense of strategic autonomy, non-alignment is, it's like an antediluvian concept. It does not operate any longer. We need to build up alliances to take on the Chinese. And a lot of us have been talking about it. At the political level, however, there wasn't enough recognition of this reality. I think thanks to Mr. Xi Jinping and thanks to the stupidity of the PLA, I think there is a greater resonance now of the requirement to tie up and get into other alliances with countries like Australia, US, Japan, and many other countries Chinese. So I think that realization is also spooking the Chinese, because if that kind of an arrangement or that kind of an alliance arrangement starts coming into picture, and it also translates into some kind of an economic, grouping of sorts, I think the Chinese will then have to pay a very, very heavy price. So I just hope that this government, as Abhijit was very rightly saying, that they take the right step and then they don't follow it through. I just hope these guys have the, the bandwidth to follow up on what they have now started.
Sure. But when we talk about domestic politics, Nishant Verma, there is a larger understanding that perhaps even now the opposition is not impressed. No matter what the soundbites come from China's side, no matter what our MEA says, and no matter what really has been the response of our country at the border and in diplomatic circles, the opposition simply refuses to stand with the government.
See, first of all, on the military aspect, all the opposition parties stand with the government and the military when it comes to the sovereignty of the country. There's no doubt about it. Now, the reason why this question crops up, which you asked, is because, see, let us make it very clear. None of the Indians ask the military what you do, because they know the best what to do. But when our government or the agencies of government start lying, and which is evident, for the sake of argument, everybody is saying 2 kilometers they have stepped back in Galwan Valley from point 14. Has anybody witnessed that? No. We are talking of disengagement.
So what do you expect? Do you expect the government to take a delegation of all opposition leaders to Galwan Valley, to PP14 and show it to themselves? Abhijit, do you want to respond?
Listen, it's been 48 hours.
No, I would like to complete on that, please.
One second,
Allow me to complete on that.
1 second.
It has been 48 hours since that satellite imagery came out, clearly showing a withdrawal, not just in Galwan, but in Hot Springs and in Pangong. What do you think? Satellite companies are deliberately fudging imagery out here, and that to foreign companies, not one foreign company, but several foreign companies. Planet Labs and Maxar. I think you really need a certain amount of chutzpah to go around saying that there's no proof of this withdrawal right now.
Okay,
but
Professor,
it's in with a pattern. Remember, this side.
I think that sufficiently answers you, Nishant Verma. 1 second, Professor Dinesh Varshney, is it good enough to simply say that we stand with our military, we stand with our government, and continue to question it when it comes to their statements on a daily basis and even through their utterings on social media? At the end of the day, if Salman Khurshid says of the Congress party that we should trust the facts, let the facts speak for themselves, then see the facts. Why continue to question what we have gained? It's right there in front of everyone.
Look, Preeti, when anybody questions the government, I don't agree, or we don't agree to that concept that we are not with the government. As far as national sovereignty and territorial integrity and national security is concerned, everybody stood with the Prime Minister on that day in the all-party meeting. Nobody objected to it, and everybody supported it. Whatever the contradictory reports coming from the LAC,
and in a quick 10 seconds.
Everybody has a right to question, everybody has a right to accept it also. But at the same time, please try to understand. I don't agree that if we have to realign. If we realign, then who will we realign?
That's a point that needs to be debated some other day. One quick 10 seconds, Nishant Verma. Do you want to really give a reply? And then I want to wrap up with Sushant Sareen. Quickly, Nishant Verma.
Yes, Mr. Abhijit has all the rights to laugh by showing some imagery of private companies, but Government of India has been defied. Mr. Modi said koi ghusa nahi, and his images show that there koi ghusa.
Okay.
So let's not go by private imagery.
So Sushant Sareen, quickly, you can do something about the trust deficit with China, but nothing can be done domestically. Your concluding comments.
Frankly, I think that's a mug's game to try and because this trust deficit out here is more of a political kind of a gimmick rather than a genuine question which is being asked. I have absolutely no issues if the opposition asks some serious questions and ask them in a serious manner. And the government is, I think, bound to answer the opposition.
Gentlemen, I'm completely running out of time. Professor Varshney, I'm sorry, I cannot give you time to now come up with a reply. I think I tried to balance this debate with the political and the strategic aspect. Thank you very much to all of you for joining us on this special edition of Newshour.
News Hour Special Edition.